Hi there, I'm Thabang, Segaecho, your presenter at Open Studio, Cape Town Channel 263. Thank you so much that you could join us today. I'm so glad you're going to be part of this amazing conversation because I have an amazing guest with us today. You know how we are all going through challenges. I'm particularly, my heart goes out to the youth, and the guest that we have today speaks, has had his struggles during his youth days. So I hope if you're a youth out there, you're listening in because he's going to be highlighting a couple of societal problems and challenges that he experienced in his life that could actually help you and I at the end of the day. So won't you help me welcome Mr. Denzil Africa to the show? Welcome, Denzil.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. I'm so glad you could be here today.
Awesome.
Wonderful. So, when you're engaging, with us and just going through your story, I find it so inspirational, and it's a reality of what's going on right now in many of our communities, especially throughout Cape Town. Won't you just give us a viewers, just briefly before we go into it, who is Denzil, just your life story, what you've been through, and a little indication of what you actually underwent according to what you told us.
Yeah, wow. First of all, thank you for having me. What a pleasure being with you guys today.
Thank you.
If I were to sum up who I am, well, I'm a very positive, witty, engaging type of guy. Persistent. I can speak a lot. I can be quite funny on my own time. And yeah, I love to achieve. But the journey that I've been on has really taken me through some dark tunnels, and my life has really been a roller coaster to where I am today. It has been a mind battle, but I think through the grace of God, I am standing. I can really say I'm standing. So Denzil, in a nutshell, is just someone that has gone through a whole lot of stuff in his life, but pushed through to be with you good guys today.
Wonderful. That's exactly what I want to talk about right there. The dark tunnels, as you mentioned, that you underwent. I understand that you stayed, you grew up with your mom. She was a single mom. She brought you up with your grandma and your aunties as well. So for you, how was it like, being a male child growing up and being brought up by, your mom and your aunties? How was it like for you?
Yeah, I actually had a very awesome childhood experience. We have a very close-knit family. I grew up in a very close-knit family, a family of achievers. All my uncles wanted to be something, so I learned a lot from them. My mom was a single mother, and then there was my grandmother, was basically the one that was there. My mom had to go and work, so she had to keep the finances also coming in. So I spent most of my time with my grandmom. Yeah, and that was basically, like I said, a great time in my life. I grew up, I had a lot. I was very spoiled. I am the eldest child in our family, not the oldest, the eldest. So I was spoiled a lot from my uncles, from my aunts, showing me the way, teaching me how to tell time on a young age. I was very inquisitive. I wanted to know how things work. I wanted to know more about the world. I had great opportunities. I had an opportunity to be on South African submarine. Had opportunity to be on South African naval ships. I had opportunity to work with my uncles on big trucks and so forth. I had lots of opportunities growing up, and I've seen a lot of our country. Like I said, I was very spoiled. I grew up very spoiled, and I don't know if that was a bad thing in my life. It really taught me a lot.
Right.
After a while, yeah. But I think if you become too spoiled, you become too laid back in life, and you learn not to depend so much on yourself, but to depend on,
Right.
I would say, the hand that fed you.
That's right. And it's a reality within the communities we live in where most of the households are actually being headed by mothers or aunties or even grandmas to this day, right?
Yeah.
So would you say that you, having moved from Bonteheuwel, which is where you grew up, you did your younger years and moved to Delft,
Yes.
right? And with that, your mom was still with you, correct?
Yeah.
And then I understand that you went to a school and you were the shy guy. But then eventually, after a while, you got out of your shell, if I should put it that way, that, outgoing Denzil that you're speaking about now came out. How was it like for you, being in that environment, being that young as well? Did you like it? How was it?
Wow, to be honest with you, I was very sad when we moved to Delft. The things that you hear about Delft today, I've lived in Delft for years, and living there, I experienced Delft on the first hand. And people have got a lot of things to say about Delft, but if you don't
Right.
live in an area, you can't judge really. I was very sad. My schooling years, my primary schools in Bonteheuwel, I was a very silent, shy guy. I was not the most talkative guy. I was not the most witty kind of person. I was never even a girlfriend type of guy. I had a nickname on school, and I will dare to say it today. They called me Worm. Not worm, but worm, because I was
Yeah.
very thin
Yeah,
and
yeah.
scrawny looking and shy, and I wouldn't speak that much. But I don't know what happened when we moved to Delft. The night we moved in, I was sitting in the car and crying because how in the world can we move into this area? The houses was a glorified matchbox
Right.
at the time.
And you didn't know anybody as well, new environment for you, yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I was very broken up, very angry to a certain extent, and then school happened, and yeah, I got friends. I met up with friends. We didn't know each other from no way, and all of a sudden things has changed in my life. Um, I became well known
Right.
on the school. The main guy. I don't know how that really affected me because that changed over. I don't know. I was still thin. I was still scrawny. I wasn't that great guy, but things just changed. And I think that being on school, having all of this, I would say, fame, uh, really after a while went to my head, because I'm at the point that no one can tell me. Everyone likes me. Everyone wants to
Right.
hear what I have to say. I met up with, I would say, the prettiest girls at the time. When I was younger, I used to be quite a looker. I used to be, I'm a bit old now, gray hair and all of those things. But when I was younger, I had it going on to a certain extent.
Right.
My mom was working, so she sorted me out with clothes. I used to wear all the best labels at the time. And yeah, school was great for me, but after a while, I started becoming rebellious. I started hooking up with the wrong friends because I'm well known. I'm known on school, and started becoming very rude with the teachers, to the point where I would swear out the teacher,
Oh,
and
wow.
he would put me out of class, and I would still think that I'm that guy, being arrogant.
Being arrogant, yeah.
Yeah, being very arrogant, being very rude, and that actually started. That was the start of the spiraling down.
Right there. Won't you just hold that thought for me as we go to a quick break? I want to come back and discuss further how the transitioning actually affected our guest, Denzil. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Hey, welcome back to Open Studio. This is Thabang. You are tuned into channel 265. Earlier on, before we went to a break, I was speaking to our guest, Denzil Africa, and he's here to share his inspirational journey. A gentleman coming from Delft, grew up under very challenging circumstances. Many of us can probably relate, especially those that are headed by mothers or grandmas or aunties, households as such. And before we went up to the break, Denzil, you mentioned that you were involved. You got in a stray. Basically, you became rebellious, and as once you moved into Delft, won't you go a little bit for our viewers about how then did the drugs and alcohol come into play?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the spiraling down, as we ended, began after my becoming very arrogant and rebellious on school. And whenever you become rebellious and arrogant, there's always just a hole, a channel for things to start happening.
That's right.
Because you put yourself in that frame of mind, you put yourself in that environment, and my frame of mind was becoming very dark at that point of view, and this led me to hook up with people with the same frame of mind because I placed myself there. I placed my mind in that. I wanted to be that person. I wanted to be that arrogant, I would say even to an extent cocky type of individual, that is just overnight, I would say, overnight become famous, and now
Yes.
he's just spiraling down a rabbit hole. And this is the point where I start hooking up with the wrong friends.
Right.
That's why I don't believe a lot in these game shops in areas,
Mm-hmm.
especially like areas like Delft, Randburg, and those are really the places where these things start happening. I started going to game shops, a friend of mine, Quentin Reiters, but he actually made a choice where he said, no, he's not going to go along with the friends that we are meeting up with. But I don't know, I chose to get involved with this crowd.
So it was a choice. You
It was my
definitely were
choice.
aware of what you were actually doing. And would you say that is exactly what actually happens on the mind frame of a lot of youngsters, that they actually decide and they voluntarily go and get engaged, or be a part of such groups in
Yeah,
society?
I would definitely, to a certain extent, because in society today we use a lot of justifications to say that I grew up without a father,
Right.
and or my mother wasn't there, or a
Mm-hmm.
family member wasn't there, and use this to justify certain actions that we participate in. But I couldn't use that as an excuse.
Right.
I grew up without a dad.
But you had a loving family,
I
like you
had a
said.
loving
Yeah,
family.
yeah,
I had
100%.
people that was there,
Yeah.
but still I needed to find my own feet. Family can only go so far. At the end of the day, I still had my own mind. I
Right.
still had my own choice, own decision. The day I decided to hook up with these friends was my decision.
That was your decision, and I'm sure many of the youth out there can actually attest to that. Like, you always have to make a choice. And for those viewers out there who don't know, you were actually shot twice, right, in the head.
Yeah.
Won't you just take us through that journey? How did that come about? And you are sitting here right now, and I wouldn't know if you had not told us. How was that for you?
Definitely. Yeah. After getting involved with the wrong friends, I started using drugs. Um, Youngsters always start out with using dacha, and they say, oh, it's innocent, and now it's legal. Police can drive past you and can be smoking with dacha, and so now it's even more hectic out there. So I started out with dacha, you know.
Okay, start small.
That's
Start with
small.
the little harmless ones,
To
they
be
would
honest,
say.
I first started with a cigarette.
Okay.
That was the lowest place, and I wanted to look cool. And
Fit in with the
yeah,
crowd.
fit in
Hey?
with the crowd. I started smoking on school, out of school, and started in the game shop. And then I met up with these guys that were more, they had more brains than me. They had more world smart than me. And I was just this innocent, scrawny kid that doesn't know a lot. I can be used.
Right.
Because you don't have real friendship out there.
Yeah,
They say
yeah.
people call them brothers and all that, but you don't have brothers. So I started spiraling down deep into drugs, hectically into drugs, mandrax, popped ears,
Wow.
even experimented on rock
Sure.
and alcoholism. It was bad for years. I may be saying it very lightly now, but I started stealing. And I didn't start stealing outside, but I started stealing inside my own home, my mother's home. So it really took my mother into another state of mind, because I don't think she could understand how this child that was raised
Changed from, yeah, exactly, with the right principles, right foundation, and then all of a sudden things
Yeah,
change. Yeah.
definitely she couldn't handle it, and my grandma moved in with us to try and help, because
Yes.
what's happening?
Exactly, yeah, yeah. And that's it. I mean, they were always your support, and your grandma was obviously the support to your mom as well. And I mean, looking at you now, I would have never known, I would have never been able to tell right off the back that you had been through such a tragedy, and I'm sure it was life altering. Coming out of that, what different choices did you decide you were going to make?
Yeah, when I came out of that, just to touch on that base, I stole everything out of my mother's house,
Sure.
up to forks,
Folks.
plates,
Wow.
pots, jackets, just to get out, just to get the next fix. And this led me into deeper things, because now I was really moving with the wrong crowd,
Yes.
and we started breaking in, stealing. And
So it
I was in this,
escalated.
yeah, gradually just raised the bar. And then we started stealing cars. But unfortunately, we stole the wrong car. One night we were moving out, me and this guy. And before we were first smoking, getting high, and we went out, and we went to go steal a car. The next thing that happened, up to today, I can't tell you what happened because I just woke up the next morning in hospital with a nurse next to me and a bandage around my head, and I asked like, what happened?
So you couldn't remember anything?
I couldn't remember anything. Up to today, I don't know what happened, where I was shot, how I was shot, how it happened that I landed in the hospital, who took me to the hospital. I don't know how that happened. Excuse me. And the nurse told me, but you were shot last night twice, and my optical nerve was damaged, so you can't see it. You know, I don't think the viewers can see it, but it touched my eyes, and so small print and those type of stuff, I can't see that well. So I use certain assistive devices.
Wow.
And that changed my life. That changed my life. Yeah, after the hospital thing, I went home, and that was it for me. I gave up.
So it was then that moment you were actually in hospital. When you woke up, you realized you had had enough.
Not even in the hospital. Not even in the hospital, because I came out, tried to walk the straight and narrow, not wanting to listen even then.
Even then you were stubborn. All right, we're going to go straight to a break. Sorry, we've just run out of time for this segment. When we come right back, we'll pick up where we left off. Don't go away. Welcome back to the show. You are tuned into Open Studio. This is Cape Town TV, channel 263. We're going to continue our conversation with our guest, Denzil Africa. He was just letting us know about his experience after being shot twice, and how was it like being in the hospital, and actually what transpired after he left the hospital. So won't you just pick up from the previous time we had a conversation about it here?
Yes, as I said, even after the hospital, after the shooting, many would think that you come out there, changed person, and going to walk the straight and narrow. Not this guy. Still stubborn, still arrogant. I don't know what was going on inside of me. There was a war.
Yeah, internal war, yeah.
A disagreement. I didn't know who I am. I didn't know who I wanted to be. I tried to fit in everywhere. I think I used the shooting, and I'm one of the guys. Something happened to
as
me.
if, like, yes, you got a story to tell now, and you survived to tell the tale type of thing. Yeah,
I got my stripes, so
yes, you've earned your stripes. Yes.
So I tried fitting in again. I went back to drugs, and this time I went back into drugs badly. And, I became very thin, very out of it. As it went on for years again. But my cousin, he died. We grew up together. So he came to me one day, and he became very successful after a while. And I was still down and out, not knowing who I am, not knowing where I'm going to, not knowing what I'm going to do with my life, but I'm still holding on to this drug. This drug wasn't even comforting me.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Just to come in there a little bit, where was your mom and your auntie, your grandma during that time now, when you were still going back again? Deciding to
my mom and my uncle and my grandmother, they were always there.
All right, so even
they were always there, but you can push people away to the extent where they become helpless.
Yeah.
They always loved me. They always showed compassion. In today's life, mothers, they run to prison, they run to court, they run to police station, because kids become so haywire, and there's really not even something else to do. But I thank God today for the love that my family showed me, and after a while it got to me, because this is, look what I'm doing, and
to the people that love you. Me. Yeah, that's really powerful. Yeah.
My mom was really, really an anchor with my grandmother, with my uncles. They always inspired me in life throughout my upbringing. But I really disappointed them, and that got to me afterwards. Right. So my cousin, he told me this one time. He said, "Denzil, we are family, and if I can make it, you can make it." It's the hardest thing is to get up. The hardest thing is to get yourself in order. The hardest thing is to get yourself, this is who I am. I'm not this weak.
It's a fight, right?
It's a fight,
yeah.
Because while you're on drugs, you see yourself with this inside. to everyone else, you want to portray you strong.
Right.
You're that guy and you fit
Right.
in. But inside, there's a war going on. Inside, there is emotional conflict in your
Yes.
mind. You are battling. So you need to run to that drug. You need to run
Yes.
to that just to get you in that flow. I was watching this documentary one time, and this guy was using unga, and he said, "If I don't use unga, I don't feel like a person."
So it's like the drugs give you life, if I should put it that way. It's like,
yeah, it's like just putting you in that zone.
yeah, it just gets you realigned, so to speak, into the swing of things.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
now you can fit in. You can
Yeah.
speak like they speak. You can
Yes.
walk like they walk. You can think what they are thinking.
Yes.
So you can agree with what they are saying. Listen, come, we're gonna do that, and come, we go rob there, and come. So you're in that zone. You're in
Yes.
that zone. But when you're alone, you just that weak. You disgusted at yourself. You want to get, but you can't.
But you can't. So it's an ongoing fight, but you still have to put up the fight yourself, you know. What I wanted to also speak to our viewers about was this amazing newspaper that you made a mention to us, the Delft Star. And I understand that, you know, you did journalism and media studies. You're still currently busy with it as well. I don't know if viewers can see it from here, but this is an amazing local newspaper. It's been like 2 years or so, right?
Yeah, 2-3 years.
Yeah. So it is a local newspaper and you've covered some stories as well.
That's correct.
So basically what inspired you then to go back and like, hey, I actually want to study something. How did you find your passion for media and journalism? And then how did you end up here?
Wow, that was a journey to really get myself in order. It's really a choice. Everything in life is a choice.
It's a choice.
My grandmother always told me that, you know, you can't expect other people to make you happy.
That's
You can't
right.
expect other people to make you successful in
True.
life. So up to today, I really hold on to
that.
wise words, you know, of people. It was a struggle to really go to study. It was a friend of mine, myself and Elizabeth Mafiki. We tried for a long time, you know, just to get someone to fund us. We wanted to go and study. It was almost a year because every door that we would knock on would be closed and shut. So finally we got people to fund us. She actually went to go and study public relations, and I got an opportunity to study journalism and media studies. And so I took that opportunity and I went to go and study in college. And that's where I found me, who I am, the guy I was raised up to be, in my proper mind, in my proper character, how to speak properly, because I was very weak and negative.
Yes.
The newspaper that you are showing now, that is Delft's very first newspaper. The owner of the newspaper, a brilliant guy, which I love a lot and have great respect for, Mr. Elton Pinar out in Delft, doing amazing things in Delft. I actually spoke with him and I told him, listen, I would like to get involved, and he welcomed me with open arms. And I got to experience, you know, the media on a broader side, even while I was studying in my first year, you know, going out, Department of Health, meeting people.
Being on the field and all that.
In
yeah,
the
it's
field,
amazing.
And getting to know that. And it was a whole different type of lifestyle from the one I came from.
Yeah.
But it was a choice I had to make.
I love that.
I had to choose, do I want to continue being this broke, busted and disgusted guy that's always just crawling to make it? Because I know and I knew who I was and who I am. Because if you can use whatever amount of drugs you want to use and whatever amount of alcohol you want to use, but you never lose who you know you are.
I love that. I love that so much, Denzil. And to our viewers at home, you never lose who you are, but you might get lost. And your story is exactly that. You're saying that you got lost along the way, but you then still came back to who the real Denzil is. So what would you like to say briefly, just one sentence, literally one sentence, because we don't have a lot of time, to somebody out there in your situation, just to give them hope and also how they can get a hold of you?
Wow. If I can just give an encouragement or motivation to someone that's sitting, you know, somewhere down and out, and you feel that the drugs and the alcohol are the only way. It's not. Once you pull yourself together, once you make that constant choice that this is the person who I want to be, you're going to lose people along the way. You're going to lose a lot of people. You're going to lose a lot of friends, so-called friends.
Yes.
You know, loved ones may walk away, girlfriends, boyfriends may walk away, but if you're willing to take that leap, things can and will change.
I love that. Things can and will change. Well, unfortunately, we've come to the end of our program today. Thank you so much, Denzil Africa,
Thank
for
you
being a
having
part
me.
of our studio guest. Watch us again every single day at 5 o'clock. This is Open Studio, channel 263. You are watching Cape Town TV. From me and my guest, is a good afternoon. Thank you so much for tuning in.